Yes. Now, technically, after you recruit Lucina, she does inform Crom and Robin that there were actually a bunch of other children that appeared that went along with her to the past to help save the future, but for some reason they were all separated along those ways, and not just separated by place, they were separated by time too. So they actually all ended up in different times in the present, around the present time, but regardless. So pretty much throughout the entire game, those other children were pretty much living out their whole lives while at the same time trying to look for their parents of the present.
Mm-hmm.
So you can technically recruit any of these kids in any order you wish, but I'm going to go ahead and go by the order of which the prologues gave them out. And the next character and the next child we'll go ahead and talk about is Owain, Lissa's child.
Oh God.
Well,
okay.
Right.
You remember how we mentioned how Japan did a poll about who are your favorite male and female characters for the adults? Well, they kind of did that for the kids too, and Owain ended up one of the popular ones, and it's kind of hard not to see why. This guy is out of his fucking mind.
Technically, Lucina did too. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah, Owain. Owain is out of his goddamn mind.
Yes. Okay. So here's the thing. Owain, he sort of dabbles in the fact that he has exalt blood because he's Lissa's child, and Lissa is sister to Crom, the princess. That would also make Owain of exalted blood. But he really takes that to a dramatic step. Like, and you know what? Actually, before we continue into that, let's go ahead and bring up what we dabbled into before about Lissa's thing with the brand.
Yes, for whatever reason, the mark of the Exalt never showed itself on Lissa, which, she was starting to think, am I related to Crom at all? Am I really part of this family? So when Owain arrives, one of the first things he mentions when he actually confronts Lissa, he shows her his brand.
Oh, no. I don't think he mentioned it. It was like his sleeve was torn and Lissa saw it.
Yeah, and she was like, oh my God, your arm and everything. And he's like, yeah, this has been bugging you for some time, but relax, man, you're okay. You are Crom's sister.
Yeah, Lissa, yeah, she was pretty happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
But back to Owain.
Yes.
All right.
Owain is a drama king. And I'm not saying that in the way where it's like, oh, boo-hoo. No, he's the guy who will just be all like he names his weapons. He tries to act like because of the brand that he has on his arm, he pretends that his arm is cursed and and that his blood rages through him, and it's just like, can't control my sword hand.
Yeah, he's like, my hand, it hungers for battle, it hungers for blood, and it's like and he's always saying, oh, I have to control it and everything. He's basically like making himself look like he's this utter badass when he's really
trying to act heroic, but that's the thing. Everything he does is literally him acting. There's even some points where characters call him out on it, and he accidentally spills that he's actually improving the entire time.
Yeah. That's why I say he's kind of out of his mind, because it's like he can never turn it off. He rarely ever talks seriously. Doesn't matter who he converses with. He's always talking about the sword hand, or naming the weapons and stuff. Like when he's conversing with Lissa, he says, oh well, you have to give your weapon a name. If you don't, it's just another flimsy weapon. But when you give it a name, you give it its power. And Lissa's just like, really?
It is funny though when people call him out on it, or if he screws something up, because he gets awkward really fast. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Also, apparently he's trying to write a story about his own heroics, and he's actually really embarrassed about it until people find it, and he's just like, wait, no, stop.
Yeah. Now that being said, even with all the heroics and the drama and everything, there actually is a reason why he goes through all of it. And it's like, part of it I'm sure is just because he fucking loves it. But you also got to remember, and you'll find this will be a reoccurring theme with a lot of these kids. you got to remember where they're coming from. They're coming from a future where it's nothing but fighting and death. And basically, Owain, with his heroics and constantly, building himself up and everything, to him, it's his way of trying to instill hope to the people. Be like, yes, believe in me. There is hope. There is a hero that will protect you. Look at me. I will protect you because I'm awesome.
Yes.
That's basically Owain's way of instilling hope in the future. So it's like, okay, it is sentimental, but it's still crazy.
Yeah, Owain also is kind of a man-child. Like, because of all these improving and stuff, he also believes in the idea of like sometimes you just need to stop what you're doing and start playing around. Similar to Noe, but just more dramatic. He'll do that with a couple of the other children characters. So,
okay.
Speaking of which, shall we go ahead and move on to the next one?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't have much to say about Owain since I didn't get him in the story. So.
All right. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and move on to Olivia's child.
You eluded my defenses and pierced my heart. It seems I've finally found my weakness.
Ooh, yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes. With Olivia's child being the smooth-talking male dancer Inigo.
Oh God, I love Inigo. He's definitely. I have to say, he's definitely one of my top 3 favorite characters.
How so?
There's just so much about this guy. I mean, okay.
Oh, that's not a
Probably the biggest thing to him, he like Virion, he's constantly hitting on women.
Here's the difference.
He's always getting turned down.
Here's the difference, though, between Virion and Inigo. Virion actually took the time to understand the women. And while he flirted, he was never really upfront about directly loving them. Inigo is very different. He clearly wants the poo-tang.
But even with that, yeah, so I mean, you do get some really funny conversations, especially if you try to hook them up with people. Sometimes if you try to hook them up with, I gotta remember, who have I whored Inigo out to?
There was one really funny one where if you hook him up to a certain other kid, you find out that there's been occasions where Inigo actually has gotten into bed with somebody, only for the result of him being chained up. And then for all of his possessions to be stolen except for his underwear.
Oh my God! What?
I think I remember that one.
That happens to Inigo multiple times in the game.
Yes.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So I mean, the guy is fucking hysterical. But when you actually start hearing more about his backstory and everything, then you start kind of, now you start bringing out I guess his more humanistic side, kind of like with Owain in the future, while Owain is doing his whole theatrics and everything to try to instill hope into the people, Inigo, he just wants to see people smile. So pretty much that's half the reason why he's, constantly hitting on girls and stuff. He's like, I want to make women happy. I want to see them smile. So that's part of the reason why he does this. The other part of the reason, which I found really funny, apparently Inigo, when he was a child, he was very, very shy. He was very much like Olivia when he was a little kid. So Olivia taught him, okay, if you want to overcome your shyness, all you have to do is talk to girls. Yeah, well, that kind of doomed him right then and there.
I assure you right now, this isn't confirmed, this is my theory. I assure you right now, that's advice that Basilio gave to Olivia.
No, actually. That advice is actually from Maribel.
Really?
Yeah, if you do the conversations between Olivia and Maribel actually suggests that to Olivia. She's like, okay, you want to get over your shyness? Okay, go talk to guys.
Mara. I forgot about that.
And she's like, guys, we're getting the wrong idea. And Maribel was like, oops, my bad. That's supposed to be advice you give to men. So yeah, thank you, Maribel, for creating this.
forgot.
So I mean, it's
I forgot.
really, really funny when you start getting a lot of this other extra stuff. It's like, oh god, Inigo suddenly makes sense. It actually makes a lot more sense, like I said, if you hook up Virion with Olivia, like father, like son.
Yes, because the relationship between like Inigo and his father, his father at first was kind of disappointed with the fact that Inigo is a philanthropist. But like soon enough, Inigo like it goes into like, you don't know anything about me. Like I'm doing this because I need to make myself invincible. I don't want people to think that I'm scared. I always want to look confident. So
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the things he also does, because apparently before Olivia died, she was trying to teach him some kind of a dance, and she taught him everything except for the end, because then she went off to battle and then she died. So Inigo, in his conversations with Olivia, he would like sneak off from the camp at night and he would practice his dancing, and he'd basically try to come up with his own ending, since Olivia never taught it to him. And then, the minute that she sees, oh, my kid's sneaking out to dance, Olivia is trying to sneak to watch her kid dance.
And Inigo catches on to that one pretty quickly too. Because like one of the things Olivia does to try to watch him is like she hides in a barrel, and Inigo finds her in the barrel, and she's like, "Oh, Inigo, fancy meeting you here. What are you doing?" I'm just hanging around in a barrel. Yeah,
Boo.
It is very cute. And then it's like, again, when you start like hooking him up with some of the other characters, like I know when you pair him up with Lucina, he's especially working really hard to get Lucina to smile. And Lucina is like, I can't afford to goof off and everything. People look up to me. I can't just be goofing off like you do. And, he's constantly, like, trying to make her smile. He resorts to tickling her at some point. And then at one point she tells him to be quiet. So now he starts miming. And she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, it's called miming.
I love it how it ends. Like, if you actually marry Inigo to Olivia, or not Olivia, to Lucina, it's just...
Yeah, first time I played through, those were the two that I hooked up.
It's hysterical because... I think this is actually the only time Inigo does this, because like to any other partner, he becomes devout to her, but with Lucina for some reason he's just like, Lucina, baby, you're my number one gal. We shall work together to make all the women in the world smile. And Lucina catches on to that one really quickly. He's like, excuse me, number one gal, I'm your only gal.
And then, she's like, oh, wait until I tell Dad. And see that, it's really funny. If you get Crom to marry Olivia and you recruit Inigo, Crom at first he's like, oh my god, my son, he's a freaking pervert. And then he stops and he goes, I have a son. This is cool. So he's quick to turn it around too. So it's really sweet. And also, if Inigo is Lucina's sister, if Lucina is his sister, one thing we forgot to mention with Lucina, like with the brand of the Exalts, her brand is in her eye. I think it's her left eye, is it?
Yes, her left.
Yes.
Yeah, her brand is in her left eye. If Inigo is her younger brother,
I don't think it actually matters which sibling. If Lucina has a sibling, and overall that sibling's Exalt brand is going to be in their right eye.
Oh, okay. Because it's like I've never noticed any of the other children mentioning that except for Inigo.
Yeah, only Inigo brought it up.
Yeah, Inigo, like when you talk on, he deliberately brings it up.
Yeah. That being said, it's really fucking creepy to think about the fact that there's actually occasions where you can either marry Lucina and Inigo, or have them as brother and sister on other occasions. It's creepy. It's only creepy to think about if you do multiple playthroughs like I have. So,
well, all I can say is I'm really sorry I had to go through that.
That being said, I think that's our cue to go ahead and move on to the next child.
Very well.
Yep.
The next child being Maribel's son.
I used to say this to all the ladies, but you're truly the only one for me.
That child being Brady.
Yes, the kid that could not be any more opposite from their parent.
Yes, and I may as well go ahead and bring this up now because we actually forgot to bring this up. It doesn't matter what mother you have. Every kid will always have the exact same mother. They can have different fathers, but never the same mother. Or, I'm sorry. They can have different fathers, but always the same mother.
Yeah.
Like essentially, Owain will always end up being Lys's kid. Inigo will always end up being Olivia's kid. And Brady here will always end up being Maribel's child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Brady, like Danny said, is an opposite to Maribel, where Maribel is his pris girl, very noble, very ladylike. Brady ended up kind of when he was given birth, he ended up, I guess, sort of deformed, but not really. Like it's just one of those things where it's like he looks creepy from afar. Like people keep mistaking him for a thug, essentially. Even though even though he himself is actually a priest. He's a priest. So
yeah, it's not so much he's not deformed or anything. It's just he's very scary looking, which is what turns people away from him. And he's very vulgar too, and he's got like a rough way of speaking. Like if you actually do the conversations between him and Maribel, she's trying to teach him speaking proper etiquette, and he's like, "Ma, this is horseshit." and she's that's pretty much it. She's like, "My child will never call me Ma."
That being said, Brady himself is actually a pretty neat guy. Yeah, he can be very he's distant on occasion. He also he's a bit of a whiner. Like he's not the most physically fit, and because of that, he'll he'll complain if people try to make him do more work than he really should, or that he thinks he should be doing anyway. At the same time, though, he cares about other people, but in his own weird ways. Like I recall, with one of the other children in the Hot Spring DLC, you find out that you find out between this child and Brady. Like Brady purposefully makes himself sort of this rugged type figure to help other people. Like he purposefully slouches because he is actually a really tall guy, and he slouches so he can be so when he's talking to women and children as a priest, he can be at eye level with them. And he purposefully makes his hair really, really messy so that way on the battlefield he'll be easy to spot. Yes, he'll be easy to spot for enemies, but he cares more about being easy to spot for his allies so he can go rush over and heal them.
Okay.
All right.
Essentially, while he tends to have a rough time showing it, he does care very much for his allies. Like the conversation that he could have with Lucina. Like Lucina's training is like. Well, for one thing, he hates accepting help from other people. I forget what the problem was. I think he had a cold or something. Like Lucina wanted to try to help him, but he refused her help. And then when he noticed that Lucina was wearing herself out from overtraining, being a priest, the role of the priest in this game are essentially medics.
Right.
So being a priest, he noticed that that Lucina was wearing herself out, and it took him milliseconds to see everything that was wrong with her. He's just like, girl, it's like, Lucina, girl, your neck's all swollen, your arms are getting all tired and rugged. It's like, go get a warm towel, put it under your neck, and go take a nice long nap right now.
Yeah.
So essentially, he's the kind of guy who hates receiving help but loves giving it.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, and it's also again, with the whole noble lineage and everything, because it's he doesn't really act like a noble or anything, but it's he does explain to Maribel that as a kid, she was she was training him on the proper etiquette. She taught him horseback riding. She taught him how to play the violin and everything. And it seems like the only thing that he kind of kept with him out of all that training is the violin playing.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, because after the war, doesn't matter who Brady marries, he retires from being a priest and becomes the world's scariest violinist.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I think I like read somewhere that's like I don't know if it's in like one of the DLC endings or one of the other possible endings or whatever, but like not only does Brady play the violin, Inigo will dance.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like, the two of them just kind of became like their own like traveling troupe.
Yeah, that was to like the Future Past DLC.
Yeah.
You still need to finish, by the way, Danny. That had an amazing ending.
Fucking hard. Give me a good fucking break.
Fuck you! I got through it in a day. Anyway,
Fight, kiss.
I think the rage is our cue to go ahead and move on.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so we got through Crom's child, Lys's child, Olivia's child, Maribel's child. Next is Sully's crotch spawn.
What?
Sully crossbone.
You make me want to be stronger, better. I swear to become a guy worthy of your love.
That crotch spawn being named Kjelle.
Yeah.
Yo.
Almost messed it up, DJ.
It's spelt really oddly, but fucking Europeans, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whoa.
From what I've seen, the J in her name is supposed to be pronounced like a Y. So it's Kjelle.
Yes, but this is Sully's child, and actually, in this case, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Pretty much, yeah. Sully number 2.
Sully knew how to raise her children.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Kjelle. Fuck, I've been calling her Kjelle this whole time, so I don't know. Kjelle, just like Sully, while not as vulgar, is still very determined and headstrong. She trains just as vigorously. The only real difference that I can remember, like that were directly brought up about Kjelle, is the fact that she's terrible when it comes to horseback riding.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is actually like Sully's main thing. So.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like Kjelle as a character, essentially she's just a toned down Sully. It's like the best way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
She's headstrong. She's very determined. She can be kind when she wants to be. She can also come off as very I guess what's the word? I guess just kind of a push off. Like people will try to get close to her, but she will typically won't really want much to do with a lot of people.
Yeah, like it's kind of weird. She's kind of like the people of Ferox. She recognizes and respects people with strength. Because I remembered, if you do the support with her and Brady actually approaches her saying, hey, I want to be stronger and everything. Can you help me? And, at first she's just like, oh, this guy's not cut out for anything. So she's like, okay, we're going to do, like, all these, like, impossible exercises, which, is easy for her because, that's what she's been trained to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, you start seeing that, and I think it's like if you have her talk with Lucina, that's also really where you get to see that I guess unsociable is the right kind of word or something, but it's it's the fact that again she recognizes people through their strength, and if she feels that you're not up to snuff, she wants nothing to do with you.
Yeah. She'll feel like you're holding her back, essentially. Right. That being said, she is also another very honorable character. Before Crom and Co. found her, when she came from the future, she ended up in this village where she was taken under the wing by this small family, which ended up being pillaged by brigades, and the man of the house that took her in, which she called her master, because apparently he was training her as well. He was killed, so Kjelle took it upon herself to go revenge him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much like Sully. I mean, if you like Sully, you'll like her daughter.
We'll end up being repetitive if we talk any more about Kjelle. So anything else? So shall we go ahead and move on?
Sure.
Might as well.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we got Sumia's kid.
With you at my side, I feel as strong as newly forged steel. I adore you.
The next child being Cynthia. Da 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 da.
Yay, Little Miss Airhead.
All the da-da-da-da, I guess.
Yeah, you're not going to understand that, Ryan.
No, of course not.
Cynthia being Sumia's child. Cynthia is a hero lover.
Basically,
Basically, she loves her subways.
Wait, what?
Think female version of Owain.
Yeah, she's the female version of Owain, except unlike Owain, who basically is acting the entire time, she's quite serious about wanting to be a hero. She's a she's a goof nut, so she tends to fuck up a lot, but she tries. And A for effort.
Just like Sumia.
Yeah, she'll be all like, she'll try some grand, like, dramatic entrance, and next thing you know, she just trips and falls on her face.
Yes, she sees her mother as like this grand hero, which apparently in the future Sumia really is like one of the best Pegasus Knights. So, and like Cynthia herself became a Pegasus Knight. She sadly enough, she's actually the Pegasus she rides is actually the very same Pegasus that Sumia rides. Like I think we may have mentioned this before, but Sumia Crom finds this wild Pegasus which Sumia tames. And this becomes her Pegasus this becomes her horse throughout the entire game, which she rides whenever she's a Pegasus Knight. And essentially, in the future, when Sumia dies, the horse gets away and flees to Cynthia, who now Cynthia uses.
Okay.
Oh, so it's essentially two of the same horse on the battlefield. You have Sumia and Cynthia fighting.
That's even brought up, like between the support between Sumia and Cynthia. Like Sumia is trying to teach Cynthia how to be a better Pegasus Knight, and like the A support, Sumia realizes, wait a second, this is my Pegasus. Yep, they're one and the same.
Huh. Okay.
But yeah, Sumia herself as a character, she's just a child, and she's also pretty much the last person to give up on hope.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like, again, if you marry Sumia to Crom, it's kind of funny. She kind of becomes like, she kind of comes off like another daddy's girl. Not to the extent of Lucina, though, but it's like, if Crom talks to her like on the battlefield and everything when you recruit her, you win, you get her and everything. She basically tells Crom, call me your Pegapony princess.
Oh yeah, that.
And Crom is like, no.
I think she does that with any character, not just Crom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like the supports between characters don't necessarily change. Well, between the fathers anyway. The fathers always seem to have the same exact supports with their kids.
Yeah, but that particular line is when you recruit her on the battlefield, and that's if Crom is her dad.
Okay.
Right. Are there any other? Is there anything else that happens depending on who she marries, or is that pretty much it?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to think.
I do know, like, if she ends up marrying Brady, remember how we say that Brady becomes like the scariest violinist? Well, apparently Brady is also the one that writes her theme song.
Oh, really?
Her theme song.
Oh man.
Oh goody.
It's like they were just meant for each other.
Of course she would.
Yeah, besides that, all too honestly, there's not much else I can say about Cynthia. I don't use her that often, so.
Yeah,
okay.
Again, it's kind of like, at that point, if you are using Pegasus Knights, you've already got Sumia and Cordelia, and it really does depend on who her parents are. Because I guess we should bring up, when it comes to the kids, what can easily make or break them is the kids can inherit some of the skills from the parents. And, that's where, like, some skills, like, take, like, Donald's aptitude, you know, if you're lucky, that skill can be passed on to whoever Donald's kid ends up becoming.
Yep.
And
Right.
if that's the case, then that kid pretty much becomes a fucking brick shithouse. But it's like, you know, but if you end up like, but you know, yeah, if you end up like pairing Sumiya with, you know, somebody that for whatever reason, you know, doesn't offer as good skills for Cynthia, and if you intend on keeping her as a Pegasus flyer, for example, then yeah, chances are likely you're not going to really use her. I mean, the same thing goes with all the kids, really. A lot of it does fall onto what skills do these kids have because of their parents.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All
Alright, so I guess we're done with Cynthia. We'll go ahead and move on to my favorite child, Cordelia's daughter.
Ew.
I love you best of all. You're like my own personal hero.